This is the body camera footage recorded by Secret Service agents and other law enforcement officers on the roof where Thomas Matthew Crooks attempted to assassinate former President Donald Trump. This footage reveals the confusion and anxiety among law enforcement members immediately following the shooting. The video was shared by Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley, who posted it on his social media account. He mentioned that the footage, recorded on July 13th, provided more information than what the Secret Service had disclosed. Grassley emphasized the need for transparency and detailed answers regarding the security failures. The video from Beaver County Emergency Services was released following a congressional request. This release coincided with the resignation of former Secret Service head Kim Cheadle, who testified before the House Oversight Committee. Cheadle's testimony was widely criticized for its lack of substantial information about the assassination attempt. The incident on July 13th marked one of the most significant operational failures of the Secret Service in recent decades. During the committee hearing, members questioned Cheadle rigorously. They sought to determine whether the security lapse that allowed Crooks to fire shots at the former president was a colossal failure. Despite being pressed for clear answers, Cheadle's responses were seen as evasive. This led to further frustration and demands for straightforward accountability. The body camera footage provides a rare glimpse into the moments after the shooting, showing law enforcement's immediate response. The recording captures officers communicating about the status of the shooter, Thomas Matthew Crooks, who was deceased, and the victims in the crowd. The chaotic scene underscores the tension and urgency law enforcement faced in the wake of the attack. Senator Grassley's decision to share the footage aimed to shed light on the incident and push for a thorough investigation into the security lapses. He criticized the lack of transparency from the Secret Service, suggesting that the American public deserves to know the full extent of what went wrong. Grassley's call for detailed answers reflects a broader concern about the effectiveness of the security measures in place to protect high-profile figures. The video showed a Secret Service agent confirming that snipers from Beaver County took photos of Thomas Crooks. These photos were then circulated. The timestamp on the video was 7:11 p.m., an hour after the shots were fired. Despite this, there was no mention of anyone on the ground speaking with Crooks. This lack of immediate action raised concerns. The video continued, revealing more about the chaos and confusion among law enforcement. They communicated about a sniper who saw Thomas Crooks setting down a book bag. The sniper took pictures and sent them out. This sniper was inside a nearby building. They lost sight of Crooks after he left the bike. Officers were trying to get Greg, the sniper, to confirm the details. The video revealed a discussion about a bike and its owner. The sniper saw someone walking away from the bike and took pictures. He then reported the suspicious activity. Law enforcement detained the person believed to be the bike owner. Officers confirmed that this person was indeed the bike owner. They mentioned the confusion due to the rapid response. Gas was turned off in the building as a safety measure. Law enforcement worked to piece together the situation. They aimed to understand the events leading up to the shooting. Later, we show officers discussing people recording the scene. They were trying to identify everyone involved. Crooks's body was on the roof. The officers worked to sort out the details and ensure no other threats were present. They also talked about detaining people who were filming the scene. These individuals were recording the officers and the shooter. When the shot started, they ran away. The officers decided to detain them to gather more information. They needed to understand who these people were and what they knew. Officers tried to relay clear information back to Washington, D.C. They confirmed one shooter was deceased, and there were 3 victims in the crowd. 2 helicopters had taken off, possibly carrying the injured. The video provided the most detailed account the public had seen about the incident. It showed the moments after the shots were fired and the actions taken by law enforcement. Snipers were positioned in a window, but not on the roof where Thomas Crooks set up his gun. They noticed Crooks acting suspiciously and took photos before President Trump appeared. These photos were circulated among law enforcement. However, the snipers lost sight of Crooks. There was confusion about whether anyone was looking for him on the ground. People in the crowd shouted that someone was on the roof with a gun. This occurred before the shots were fired at 6:11 p.m. and 33 seconds. The video highlighted several key points. It showed the efforts of law enforcement to manage the situation. Officers were trying to secure the area and gather information about potential threats. The video also raised questions about the effectiveness of the response. Jimmy, a former sniper, shared his thoughts on the body camera footage. He noticed that a man in a suit, likely a Secret Service agent, asked many questions on the roof. This footage was recorded about an hour after the shots were fired. Jimmy pointed out the confusion among the officers. As a sniper, Jimmy questioned why some snipers were in a window instead of on the roof. He explained that being inside a building limits the field of vision. He felt the snipers should have been on the roof for a better vantage point. Jimmy explained that the snipers' positioning limited their field of vision. They were in a room looking out of a window towards Trump. This setup greatly reduced what they could see. He emphasized that being inside made the snipers less visible, which is usually the goal. They did not want to be seen by anyone. However, this also meant no one knew they were there until the body camera footage revealed it. Jimmy noted that in the body camera footage, an officer mentioned the window was nearby. He suggested going over to talk to the sniper there. This raised questions for Jimmy. He wondered why the snipers did not see Thomas Crooks climbing the roof with a rifle. They should have been able to eliminate the threat. Jimmy pointed out that he did not know the exact perspective from the window. However, he found it concerning that the snipers missed such a critical detail. Jimmy found it interesting that the snipers and officers were aware of Thomas Crooks before the shooting. They had identified him as suspicious and knew about his presence before President Trump took the stage. Despite this, they still allowed Trump to take the stage, making him vulnerable. Snipers from Beaver Creek had taken and circulated photos of Crooks. They had seen something was wrong, but did not act to prevent the threat. Jimmy questioned why the authorities did not take more decisive action to protect Trump. Jimmy felt that poor communication played a major role in the security failure. The snipers took pictures of Thomas Crooks and recognized him as a threat. Despite knowing this, they allowed President Trump to take the stage. No one approached or detained Crooks. Jimmy questioned why the authorities did not act on this information. He noted that Trump himself suggested he would have waited 15 minutes to avoid any risk. This situation revealed a serious security lapse that put Trump's safety in jeopardy. The incident raised serious concerns about the safety of everyone at the rally. It was not just about President Trump, but also about the people attending. Among them was firefighter Corey Comparator, who was killed while protecting his family. 2 other men were injured and are now recovering in the hospital. The failure to act on the suspicious activity was shocking. Authorities should have paused the event to address the threat posed by Thomas Crooks. The FBI discovered that Crooks had encrypted messaging apps on his phone. They could not find any information pointing to a specific ideology or motive. This lack of clear motive makes the situation even more troubling. It raises questions about who might have influenced Crooks or who he might have been communicating with. The encrypted messages suggest that he was in contact with someone, but the details remain unclear. It shows that while photos of Thomas Crooks were circulated, no one on the ground took immediate action to locate him or address the threat. This delay in response is troubling. Jimmy, with his sniper experience, questioned why the snipers inside the building were not on the roof. Being inside a building drastically limits visibility. On the day of the incident, it was 91 degrees, making the roof much hotter. However, Jimmy wondered if the sniper's goal was to avoid being seen rather than to effectively monitor the situation. And that's it for today's episode. Don't forget to give this video a like and also subscribe to the channel to stay updated in future. Until then, keep exploring.
So this is the guy
Yes, that they sent yes, Beaver County sniper scene.
Have you been able to gain access to the shooter's electronic communications?
Was asked this question. How did Thomas plan the entire shooting in the same house with his family?
Take a look at what happened.